We love doing fireworks on the 4th of July over here at the Nerd family. And it's such a big deal in our family that my husband even proposed on the 4th of July. And let's be clear, the best part of the 4th of July, other than maybe homemade ice cream, is doing fireworks in your street or in your neighborhood. But sometimes it can be a bit onerous to do it with kids. So today I am making a different type of video than my normal homeschooling content. I am doing more of a parenting video. Who am I? I'm Jacqueline. I'm over here at homeschoolhangout.xyz, and I am a veteran homeschooling parent of 17 years. And I like to share tips and tricks to make your life calmer, filled with clarity, and filled with peace. So if you like me doing more of these parenting style videos or life management, do me a favor, let me know down below. Just for backstory, my kids are all between the ages of 23 and 17, so I've kind of been through this for a few years. And to that end, here are 6 ways to really enjoy the fireworks as a family calmly. The first thing I say is be clear with kids when you are planning on starting. There is nothing more annoying as a child, and I remember this from being a child, when you ask your parents, oh, when are we going to do this? And they just go, later. You're 6. You have no concept of what later means. I always say pick a time that's slightly after when you hope to start. And the reason I say that is I know in our household, we like it to be pretty dark when we start our fireworks. And sometimes that seems to be later than we had hoped. So set a time later than you hope and say, we hope to be doing it by, and give them a time. I'm not saying lie to them in any way, shape, or form, but kind of give them a point that they can fix on. The next thing is give the children something specific to do until fireworks. And I don't just mean eating dinner, because I know for us, we tend to eat dinner, and then there's this gap of time where you're waiting for it to be dark enough to do fireworks. So give them something specific. Have a movie you turn on. Ask them to build you something really specific with Legos. Give them something to fix in on a little bit so they're not just obsessing about the time passing ever so slowly. Even if it's just watching Pop Goes the Fourth, one of the Washington 4th of July shows. Something along those lines. Okay, now we're getting ready to actually do the fireworks. One of the things we have always done is we take a blanket, like a picnic blanket. Frankly, an old tablecloth works great too if you don't have picnic blankets. And that's kind of what we used as our picnic blanket. And you lay it out, okay? I'm looking at my notes here. This is where the children belong, unless they're called up to do a specific job. You're giving them a finite, boundaried area. And frankly, it's where I usually sat with them when they were younger too. And it just helps them, they're not rocking back and forth in anticipation in an outdoor flimsy chair. They're not doing anything like that. And it gives them something that is very firm, that they can see in the dark, that they can put their things on, all of that good stuff. Okay? I also say have something for them to do during the fireworks. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it could be anything from morning glories, which in California are the closest thing we have to sparklers. And that's something they can do in those lulls, those transition times. Now, we don't typically do that on the picnic blanket. We do it right next to it. But the big thing we always did when they were younger is we had dessert and glow sticks. Like the little glow sticks, you can make them into bracelets and stuff. And that is what we did during the fireworks. It gave them something to do with their hands so they didn't get restless. It gave them something to, be excited about too, that they actually got to do and not just watch. One of the other big things is be clear about their involvement ahead of time. Are you going to let them light a firework? Because as my kids got older, my husband would take up a kid at a time and let them light a certain number of fireworks. If they're not going to, tell them. Are they going to get to play with morning glories? Are they, going to help put water in the bucket? Whatever it is, let them know ahead of time. So they're not being antsy, trying to do whatever it is they can do. They understand what their expectations for involvement are. And then we get to the end. It's been a great night of fireworks, but now the chaos usually ensues, right? No, no, you're going to have a plan for what that's going to look like. In our house, we pick up all your dessert stuff, all your glow in the dark bracelets, and it all goes inside with you. We're going to say goodbye to whoever came by to visit. Then you're going to throw your garbage away. And then in our house, one by one, they would go brush their teeth and put on their pajamas. We would start from the youngest to the oldest because in theory, it should get easier to wait for things as you get older. And then by the time they're done, my husband is done cleaning up from the fireworks because there is a certain amount of making sure everything's doused, making sure everything's picked up, making sure if you had chairs for adults, they got put away. All that stuff has to happen. And so Dad, typically in our household, is done about the time the kids were done. So then you can come in and pray with the kids, tuck them in, do the whole bedtime routine. And having that structure helps them focus on that versus what's Dad doing? Can I go help Dad? What's Dad doing? What's going on? When's he coming in? Is he going to come in and say goodnight? Is he going to... Just gives them something to focus on and something to process. None of these things are onerous things, and these are how we structured it to make our family work. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to put a blanket on the grass, but that's what we did. But it does help to say, this is where you're going to sit. This is what you're going to do beforehand. And let's be clear, we have to wait hours for it to get dark enough to do fireworks anyways. So you might as well take that, put in a little bit of planning, hit the Dollar Tree, buy some glow-in-the-dark bracelets, bake a dozen cookies or have ice cream cones or buy a box of popsicles because you're all going to want something to eat and drink anyways. And have safe fun. Happy 4th of July. Bye.